Well, happy Friday, everybody, and welcome into another edition of the Ducks Postgame Show here on the Halos in the Infield Network. Dominic Lorenz of Catella Chronicles here with you tonight. And boy, oh boy, it's going to be a winning postgame show tonight as the Ducks at home defeat the Washington Capitals in a shootout by the final of 4-3. It's been a couple of days, or a couple of games, I should say, since myself or Todd have been on the post-game show. Todd has been traveling. I've been doing other work. So this was the first opportunity for this week to come on to the post-game show and say hello to you, the fans, after, again, that big win tonight from the Anaheim Ducks, 4-3 over the Washington Capitals in a shootout. A lot to cover in this game. Some good, some bad, some things to improve on for the Ducks. But they outshoot, out-hustle, and get the job done and defeat the Washington Capitals tonight in a game that followed up one of the worst losses in Ducks franchise history on Wednesday after falling to the Utah Mammoth 7-0. Awful game to be at if you were at Honda Center. But the Ducks rally back tonight, wiped that loss from the slate, and came out with a different energy tonight, even though they trailed 1-0 and never led in this game. Until it went final in the shootout, the Ducks just find a way to get the job done and get a huge win when it mattered, stay atop of the Pacific Division standings, and at least garner some momentum going into Sunday's game to wrap up this 3-game homestand against the Chicago Blackhawks, who they've struggled against this season. But overall, a good night for the Ducks as they outshoot the Washington Capitals 38-21, an offensive onslaught kind of game. And once again, as a friendly reminder, the Ducks without Dostal and Mrazek for another couple of weeks. So it's Ville Husso in charge in net for the Anaheim Ducks, and Husso came up big tonight. We'll get into that as we continue here on the post-game show. But cheers to everybody joining us here on the one and only post-game show for the Anaheim Ducks. It's right here on the Halos in the Infield Network. Check us out on YouTube, X, Instagram, all the places you want to be at Halos in the Infield. And also you can check out Catella Chronicles, my personal site as well, at Catella_CHRON. But Husso's rebound control can use some work, but otherwise made some great saves tonight. I absolutely agree in that case. Ville Husso, again, coming up from the AHL, probably didn't expect to be on the Anaheim Ducks at any point throughout the year with cornerstones like Dostal and Peter Mrazek coming in. But with recent injuries over the last handful of weeks, opportunity presents itself. And Husso right now, the main man in charge with the Anaheim Ducks. Hasn't been pretty, but gets the job done. Keeps the Ducks invested in this game. And the offense gets to do what they do best, score goals and win games. Let's quickly go through the scoring streak for you in this game tonight. It started off in the first period. Tom Wilson is 17th of the year. Speaking of cornerstones, one of the big ones for the Washington Capitals, got the game going once again. But it's Mr. Sniper. They play it at Honda Center. You got to say it. Cutter Gauthier, cut it, baby. He picks up goal number 16 of the season. Cutter Gauthier to tie it up 1-1. Beckett Seneca gets his 14th assist. Jackson Lacombe his 12th. And a good overall shift late in the first period after you would assume. Once again, the Ducks like to be allergic to the lead. They never like scoring first, and they always like coming back late in games. But Cutter Gauthier gets the job done, gets the Ducks on the scoreboard for the first time in a couple of games after, again, losing 7-0 on Wednesday against the Utah Mammoth. They were able to get a goal in the first period. You felt the proverbial monkey off their back, and they felt that they could go right back to work and get the job done once again. And yes, comments keep rolling in. Mr. Brightside saying Ducks playing catch-up and salvaging a win once again. Numerous times this year, that has been the Ducks' MO. I don't think it is necessarily the MO you want to play with. It's just situational MO that just kind of happens throughout the game. The Ducks don't go into practice and go into any game saying, okay, we're going to give up the lead. We're going to have to rally back and find a way to win. It galvanizes a team when you're able to reach into your back pocket and get those rally type wins. But you never want to pin your hopes on that 24/7 and physically put yourselves in that situation right off the bat. But luckily, this year for the Ducks, more times than not, they have gotten the job done and pick up a win here tonight. Mr. Brightside, thank you for that wonderful analysis here from a 4-3 win. So after a 1-1 tie after one, it's back to back to back to back. It's a pinball effect in this game. Frank picks up his 4th goal of the year for the Washington Capitals, an unassisted goal to make it 2-1 Capitals. And then one of the unsung heroes, I'm going to say, for the Anaheim Ducks this year, doesn't always get on the scoreboard, but yet he is physical and he is dynamic and he always sniffs around the puck and is able to set up a good possession. And that is being rewarded tonight with Ross Johnson. Yes, 2nd goal of the year, assisted by Gudas and Zellweger. And on a little tip-in point shot from Gudas, it just ricochets out the stick of Johnson, finds a space in the back of the net. Johnson gets credited for his 2nd goal of the season and tying up the game at 2 apiece. Diving in a little bit to Ross Johnson for a moment. Johnston has been a guy, a 3rd and 4th line kind of presence, right? We all know the physical capabilities, had a massive hit behind the net tonight. Clean shoulder right to the back shoulder blade. You couldn't ask for a better hit. The Capitals got in their feelings a little bit. Of course, you don't want to see a player of yours go down, but a nice, clean, physical presence hit from Johnson. And, of course, gets rewarded with a goal and has a really, really good game overall tonight with 1 point and 1 assist. We'll get to the assist here in just a moment, and it was 1 goal, 1 assist, 2-point night for Johnston. Capitals take the lead once again, just about a minute and a half later, and this is a recurring issue for the Anaheim Ducks. As soon as they tie a game or take the lead, in less than 1, 2, maybe 3 minutes, they allow the opposing team to penetrate their defense and get to the back of the net and get the job done and allow the other team to shave off some of that momentum. So if there's one thing from the Ducks, we talk about defense all season. We've talked about, a lot of different other areas where the Ducks need to improve. I think still the number one area that the Ducks need to harness in and really focus on is when you score or take the lead, or even if you're trying to play catch up and you score a goal, you need to come off that initial face-off after scoring and be ready to play defense, because the opposing team's going to want to jump on the offensive side and battle back in a hockey game. And I feel way too many times when the Ducks score to either take the lead, tie the game, or even if they're trailing, the opposing team, it's like that first 3 to 5 minutes after the Ducks score, we're kind of on the edge of our seat saying, okay, is this going to be the time that the Ducks either save their ass and not give up a goal or fumble the bag a little bit and give up a goal? So I would say that's one of the big things, if not the biggest thing so far for the Ducks to continue to work on here throughout the season, especially after tonight getting their 17th win of the season. The young kid, 19 years old, Beckett Seneca, picks up his number 8 horn of the season. Yes, indeed. Seneca does a good job of getting the assist from Ross Johnston. Great setup, great little flick in. We've said it a number of times on this show. Again, the only podcast that does an Anaheim Ducks post-game show. Tell your friends, keep on coming back, like, comment, subscribe. We want to hear from you. Tell us what you think about this game. I know Demetrio, always a fan of the show, comes in and says, played a solid, complete, and competitive game against an East Coast powerhouse. This is how I want to see them play. Responsible, smart, tough hockey. Absolutely agree with you, Demetrio, and especially all of this coming after a 7-0 franchise, second worst game in franchise history loss. Yeah, this was the game to bounce back in, and the Ducks did that in grand fashion. But Seneca, 19 years old. If this is water, if this was the tea, we're sipping it and we're taking it all in. What the Ducks have done, not even the Ducks, let me backpedal that. What Beckett Seneca has done for the Ducks this season cannot be measured. 19 years old, still growing hair on his damn balls, as we say it. And he has the balls to go after other players on other teams, be physical. He gets physicality coming at him, and he'll give it right back to you. So I think it's a great opportunity for Beckett Seneca to be as competitive as possible. Good friend, the one and only James here on the network, was at the game tonight. He said it was a completely fun game. Loved the 5-minute overtime session. Loved the shootout. James, cheers to you. Thank you for tuning on in here tonight. But I got to agree with you. As James again says, got to go more often. Absolutely. If you are a hockey fan, or if you're new to the sport of hockey, what I would tell anybody, if you're just getting into hockey or maybe have been out of it for a while and trying to come back into it, go to a game. The environment at Honda Center, or any hockey game to be exact, is a ruckus environment full of chaos, but it's almost like a controlled rock and roll chaos. And it's the best kind of environment. To me, if I had to rank sports in viewing capacity, hockey's my number one favorite sport to go in person and watch. Baseball's at a 2, football's a 3, basketball is a 4. I think it's just an amazing experience. And it's really, really awesome. So, James, cheers to you, buddy. Glad you enjoyed it. And, hey, 1-0 going to Ducks games this year. Maybe we need to get James to more Honda Center action here this season. But Beckett Seneca, at finishing that thought, he's played dynamic. He's being physical with other teams. And even though other teams are being physical with him, he is doing what he needs to do to rework the narrative so he is not a predictable player to other teams. We've seen how other teams have played Leo Carlsson, and he's had to navigate through his game and doing it successfully. We'll get to the shootout non-goal in a little bit. Luckily, it didn't play a factor into this game. But Seneca, I cannot say enough positive things about this 19-year-old rookie. I know he's probably not going to get enough love by the NHL for the rookie voting. But man, oh man, this cat, he's got it, and I'm really, really, really excited about where his future holds, because if he can be at that level like Leo Carlsson and take steps in the right direction each and every year, in the next year or two, he is going to be one hell of a formidable piece on this Duck squad that's already overperforming by a lot of metrics this year. It's going to keep on getting better for a kid like Beckett Seneca. Love it, love it, love it. Demetrio checks in saying, Beckett, Scory, Perry, Seneca. He has those vibes. And if you pair him up, look what the Ducks had for years. Getzlaf, Perry, Solani. You had those front three, and it was a massive, powerhouse pairing. Perry, Carlsson, Seneca, McTavish. You have the makings of a very deep playoff run, I think, in the future for the Anaheim Ducks. And I think that's great. Mr. Brightside saying, I've never seen the Ducks lose. I think they need me on Sunday. Go for it. If you're free, go for it. We need your bright side personality at Honda Center to give our boys some good luck. So it was 3-3 after 2. We go to the third. Powerhouse third. No scoring. We go to overtime. Nothing happening in overtime. And then the shootout session puts you on the edge of your seat. And it starts off with the one and only Leo Carlsson, who does a nice move to the backhand, flicks it on in. After review, they say he touched the puck twice. Utter bullshit. The pad was flying back from the Capitals netminder. The puck was already crossed the line when his stick hit it a second time. To me, that was a good goal. The Terry goal should have ended the game. And what more can you say after that? Luckily, as I said, it did not make a difference because Troy Terry and Mason McTavish looked so sharp in the shootout period. My God, the Ducks are unbelievable. The sniper shots coming in slow on the outside, cutting back in. The nice move to get to a wide open net by Terry and McTavish, threading the needle to the far side of the post. It was chef's kiss, fantastic. to me, 3 for 3, and Villa Huso locks it down in the shootout session. And for Huso, his first 2 wins as a Duck, or 2 shootout wins, I should say, as a Duck, coming on Black Friday last week against the Kings and the Capitals tonight. 2 massive wins for this Ducks franchise, and Huso was right there to get the job done. I love it. I love it. I love it. And then we have Dan coming in saying, having my other 2 teams in first place sure helps the Angels hangover. Absolutely. You know, our Angels aren't so good, but we're curing our depression just like Mr. Brightside. I'm slowly curing my Angels depression this year with this Ducks team. I am right there with you. The Angels, as we all know, are always a faithful to kind of give you some highs and give you some lows, and more lows than highs lately. But to be able to watch this Ducks team thrive this year, and there's been some moments that have been tough, you know, the 7-0 loss and the 5-3 loss to Chicago last Sunday after having a big lead. Yeah, you know, it wasn't a great week, you know, for the Ducks. But you find ways to grin and bear it through. And we have to remember, it is an 82-game season. It is a marathon, not a sprint. And the Ducks are going to have these ebbs and flows to the season. They came out with an above 500 record in the month of November, which was a massive goal that I thought the Ducks needed to take on in order to stay competitive in the Pacific Division standings. And they did it, you know, really well in my sense. They got 9 wins in the month of November, and so far in the month of December, they are 2-1. So starting off this trajectory in a right way. And with this being the first post-game show for the month of December, as mentioned earlier, Todd's been out on work out of the state. I've been doing work. It's been a crazy week so far. So on for the first post-game show here of this week. But we'll dive into the December schedule as we get to the end here of the post-game show. But just finishing off just kind of the thought process of this game and looking and breaking down the stats in this game. Ducks completely wiped the floor with the Capitals in the shots on goal category, 38-21. And the Ducks finally have a game where they win the face-off category, 54-46%, winning 27 of 50 draws. Capitals took more penalties. Ducks a little more disciplined tonight. Again, Capitals led in the hits and the block shots category and the giveaways category. Ducks had the puck, had 7 takeaways in this game, which was good as well. So I think the Ducks outshooting 12-8 in the first, 15-9 in the second, and they locked it down in the third. 8-3 shots on goal. Overtime had some chances, 3-1, but it's the shootout that gets the job done. Terry, McTavish, locking it down. Ducks outscore the Capitals 2-1 in the shootout for that big 4-3 win against the Washington Capitals. Before we get to more comments and we dig deeper into the stats in this game, as always, what do we got to do? It's that time of the night where we choose our 3 stars of the game. All right, 3 stars of the game time here for tonight's 4-3 Anaheim Ducks victory over the Washington Capitals in a shootout at Honda Center. And it's a good way to get back on the win column after a 7-0 loss on Wednesday to Utah. Ducks so far have split the 3-game series 1-1. They'll wrap it up on Sunday against the Chicago Blackhawks, the third and final time they'll be playing the Connor Bedard Blackhawks. And after the Ducks losing 2-1 in overtime and 5-3 in Chicago so far this year, Sunday is a must-win scenario in my mind. You don't want to get swept in a season series against a single team. But the 3 stars of the game here tonight, no doubt about it, at the number 3 slot. I thought about this a little bit, and I think it's, even though, and this is a rarity for me, when you don't get a point in a game, it's rare that you can become a 3-star of the game. But the play he's put out this season, the opportunity he has created. Over 23 minutes on the ice, on the top line. He is the guy, and we've said it time and time again. Give him the extension. Give him the keys to the castle. It's Leo Carlsson. His physical presence on the ice is great. His skating ability, his passing ability. He is a do-it-all-for-you hockey player who is, I believe, in my opinion, somewhat, not fully, but somewhat underappreciated in the NHL. I think Celebrini and Connor Bedard and a couple other young players get more recognition over him. I don't know why. But this year, in 28 games played, 14 goals, 22 assists, 36 points. And he should have had a shootout goal tonight, even though that doesn't go to your overall numbers. He still should have gone and got that goal in the shootout, even though it was overturned by the replay officials in Toronto tonight. But 6'3", 208 pounds, 20 years old. This kid is going to be a dynamo force, and this guy unequivocally must be an Anaheim Duck for life. He has to be. No doubt about it. Second overall pick in the draft. He has proven so much already. Leo Carlsson, our third star of the game. In the number 2 slot, I'm going to give some love to Ross Johnston. He gets a goal, an assist, 2-point night, massive hit on the Capitals in the second period. He was all over the ice tonight. And if you think about this, oddly enough, he was only on the ice for 7 minutes and 42 seconds in this game. Hardly any shift time. He and Frankie Vetrano and Ryan Strome, that back-end line, had under 10 minutes apiece. But they made it count, and Johnson did a really, really good job to be physical and get the job done within under 8 minutes of on-ice time. Got a goal, got an assist. He is secretly having a very, very good year so far. 27 games, 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. But his physicality and presence on the ice has been heads up and doing great work. Ross Johnson in the 2 slot, and in the number 1 slot, he might not have the hair on his balls quite yet at 19 years old, but Beckett Seneca ties the game in the second period, 3-3, a goal, an assist, 4 shots on goal, 17 minutes on the ice, and he continues to strengthen up his game so far this year. 28 games, 8 goals, 14 assists, 22 overall points, a +6 on the ice in his rookie season. Beckett Seneca, boy oh boy, the Toronto, Canada native, at just 19 years of age. He'll turn 20 on January the 28th, 3rd overall pick in 2024. This kid has so much to offer, and I think if everything works out well, there is by no reasons why Carlsson, Seneca, McTavish got his bag, and Troy Terry, all of these guys, this is the nucleus we've been waiting for since the Getzlaf, Perry. You think of those playoff teams for the Ducks that were so successful. You had Ricard Raquel, Hampus Lindholm, Sammy Vatanen, Matt Bolesky, the Niedermeyers, of course, Solani and all of these players. Silverberg, Koivu. I could name so many more players right now, but it would take too much time here on the post-game show. But if you could lock up a lot of these guys, it's going to be great. And one other area that we talk about, in Demetrio, you bring up great points as always, my friend. Thank you for always supporting the show here and commenting as well. Pavel Mintyukov showing his value since coming back after being those healthy scratches for 3 games. He took it personally, and maybe not personal in a bad way, but he said, I need to make the opportune situation. And he has done that indeed. Pulled off a couple of assists, a couple of goals, shots on goals, creating opportunities, and has looked really good on the back end of the defense. Round of applause. Yes, indeed, for Pavel Mintyukov. It's been something that's been needing to happen for this Ducks defense pairings. So if you can do that, I would say absolutely. However, what does that do with the defense? Trade for a top-end defenseman, let somebody from a young car go or develop. There is a logjam at the AHL level and throughout, ECHL and the Canadian hockey leagues, and the guys we have on loan like Roger McQueen and stuff like that. There's a lot you could do, but what will Pat Verbeek do if the Ducks are in playoff contention, right? Why wouldn't they add at the trade deadline? Like, it seems to be what you do to gear up for the playoffs. And if the Ducks at that point, when we get to January, and especially the Olympic break, now I'd have to look for a moment here when the NHL trade deadline is this upcoming season. It will be March 6th at high noon. Friday, March 6th is the NHL trade deadline. So let's think of it critically. When the Ducks and the entire NHL go on the Olympic break, which will be in Milan, Cortina in Italy, the Ducks will have a good 2-week period of a quote-unquote bye week. But Pat Verbeek's got to figure out what he's got to do, because when their final game before the Olympic break is February 3rd, they don't come back until February 25th. And March 6th is only a week and a half later. And the Ducks will be in the midst of a massive homestand at the end of February coming out of the Olympic break. They have Edmonton, Winnipeg, Calgary, Colorado, New York Islanders, and Montreal and St. Louis. A 7-game homestand at Honda Center coming out of the Olympic break. And on Friday the 6th, they have Montreal. So Verbeek's going to have to make some tough decisions during that homestand. But again, if you're in playoff contention, right now the Ducks, 35 points in first place, Vegas at 34, Kings at 31. That is 1, 2, 3 in the Pacific standings, with Edmonton, San Jose, Seattle, Calgary, and Vancouver 1 through 8. We were talking about the Calgary Flames only at 10 points a couple weeks ago, and they've gone on a little bit of a tear, being 5-3-2 in their last 10, and they're now 7. So right now, there is a 12-point gap between last and first in the Pacific Division. It is tight. It is competitive. And the Ducks are going to have to make some hard decisions. We've seen Pat Verbeek do it in the past when the Ducks were going into rebuild mode and they were sell, sell, sell. But now, with plenty of cap space going into the offseason, what do the Ducks do? If you're competing for a top 3 spot in your division, you got to add right now. And I know Ryan Strome has been a healthy scratch a couple of games, even though he came back tonight. Frankie Vetrano hasn't been as strong as we've seen him in the past. The backside of this defense has been a little helter-skelter at times. So there's going to be some questions, and we know the goaltending right now is in question with Dostal and Mrazek being out. Hopefully Dostal comes back next week or early the week after. Mrazek will probably be, I'm going to guess, closer to Christmas, if not the end of the month. So, Ville Husso is going to have a lot on his, task right now, and looking at the Ducks schedule. Thankfully, they don't have any back-to-backs this upcoming week. They got Chicago on Sunday, and then they begin a 5-game road trip. Pittsburgh on Tuesday, New York Islanders next Thursday, New Jersey Devils next Saturday, and then a back-to-back Rangers and Blue Jackets 15th and 16th to wrap up that road trip. So if Dostal doesn't come back by the 15th or 16th, we're going to see pretty much the 2 AHL goaltenders that we have running down that East Coast swing. And this is the time. See, the month of December is not going to get any easier. The Ducks 2-1 so far. And after that road trip, the Ducks have a homestand. Dallas, Columbus, Seattle, Christmas break, at the Kings, which is a home game, staying in SoCal, San Jose, then Tampa Bay on New Year's Eve. And that is the end of the 2025 portion of the schedule. So overall, looking at this week by week, 3, 4, 4 more. So the Ducks have 15 games in the month of December. You got to win at least 8. You got to keep staying above 500. And still, if you got to get the pity point, you got to do what you got to do. So if the Ducks could go 8-3-2, or no, I got to do my calculations a little bit better than that. 8-5-2. Yeah, that'd be right. 8-5-2 would get you a grand total of 18 points this month. I'd say that's not bad. They've already gotten 4 points so far this month. So they're 2-1. So bare minimum, you got to win at least 6 more games, which gets you a grand total of 12 more points plus the 2 pity points I'm projecting. That's 14 more points. That would get the Ducks to a grand total of 49 points by the end of December. Not bad. I think if the Ducks could somehow get to at least 50 points by the end of December when the clock strikes midnight and we pop off the confetti for Happy New Year, if the Ducks could have 50 points to their ledger, I think that is a party, it's definitely needed because January ain't going to be any easier. The Ducks have a grand total of 4 home games in the month of January, and they're spread out with a lot of tough tasks. 4-game East Coast road trip, and then a 5-game part Canada, part America road trip. Colorado, Seattle, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver. The Ducks have some long road trips coming up in January. So with this massive homestand and the homestand that's coming up near the end of the month, the Ducks need to take advantage. And who knows, they could win 10. Chicago's going to be a tough game on Sunday. Then you go on this road trip with Pittsburgh, the Islanders, the Devils, the Rangers, and the Blue Jackets. And just looking at the conference standings, Chicago right now is 8th place in the Western Conference. Then you have teams like Pittsburgh, 4th in the East. Islanders, 6th in the East. Devils, 7th in the East. Rangers, 8th in the East. And Columbus, 11th in the East. So this is the time where the Ducks they've played high up to competition so far this season, and they have battled where they've needed to battle. However, they've lost some games that they probably shouldn't have lost to. The Utah game, the Vancouver game, leading 3-0 to Chicago. That could have been 2 more points in your pocket so far. So the Ducks, 3rd best record in the Western Conference, 4th best team in the NHL. But there was a logjam looking at the standings, and the Capitals were above us record-wise tonight to just stick around and beat a perennial powerhouse in the Eastern Conference. Props to the Anaheim Ducks. But after the Ducks, Minnesota with 35 points, between Minnesota, who's 5th in the NHL, to, let's say, Chicago in the 20th spot, guess what? A 5-point difference. There is a hell of a lot of competition so far this year in that middle portion. And this push to the playoff, I know it's early, and the Ducks have a record of 17-10-1, and we're just 28 games in the season. Dominic, put it in park, pump the brakes a little bit, but we are 28 games in. We're a quarter of the way done with the season, more than a quarter of the way done. It's go time. This schedule does not allow for any breathing room until you get to the Olympic break. It is all gas, no brakes, and with 2 less goaltenders and a couple of, holes in your roster right now, the Ducks have to find ways to win. And they do it tonight against the Washington Capitals by the final of 4-3. Ducks tonight get massive, massive goals from Cutter Gauthier, Ross Johnson, Beckett Seneca, and of course shootout goals from Troy Terry and Mason McTavish to get to that win by the final of 4-3. Ville Husso, 18 saves on 21 shots. Ducks outshoot the Capitals 38-21. Out physicality, whatever you want to call it. They get the job done, and that's what matters at the end of the day. The Ducks make it happen and get the win tonight against the Washington Capitals. To me, final thought on this game, as we've covered a lot so far here on the post-game show. We're already at the 35-minute mark, and I don't want to keep you too long on your Friday night, but we're celebrating here tonight. Ducks back in the win column tonight by the final of 4-3. Looking up and down, I'm going to say, if I had to do it, and not if, because I have to, who's getting the Hoser Award tonight? Call me petty. Call me crazy. I don't care. I don't care if you made 35 saves. I don't care if your team's 3rd best in hockey. All I care is what you do in a shootout. Capitals goaltender gives up 3 goals, even though Leo Carlson's didn't count. It counted. Logan Thompson, hoser of the game. I don't care if you have 12 wins this season. I don't care if your goals against is 2.06. Ducks get 3 goals in regulation. Pound 2-3 shootout goals with Leo Carlson, Troy Terry, and Mason McTavish. Made him look a little silly, and the Ducks get that extra point tonight. So Logan Thompson, the goaltender for the Washington Capitals, is our hoser of tonight's game. But 3 stars of the game, as we talked about just a little while ago. Number 3, Leo Carlson. Number 2, Ross Johnston. Number 1, Beckett Seneca. Ducks get the win tonight. They have tomorrow off. They'll be back on the Honda Center Ice on Sunday, 5 o'clock game against the Chicago Blackhawks to wrap up the 3-game homestand. And what, to me, my opinion, must-win hockey. No doubt about it. The Ducks need to win this game on Sunday. After losing a close overtime game early in the season in Chicago and losing in the way in which you did in Chicago just last week, having a 3-0 lead early in the first period and letting it completely slip away and letting the emotions get the best of you and just getting outworked every single angle. Chicago wanted it more. You need to pay them back, and you need to pay them back dearly in your house. Hold no prisoners. Get the job done and beat Connor Bedard and the crew of the Chicago Blackhawks. It is a Joel Quenneville comeback game. He is hosting his former team in his new house, and the Ducks need to pay the piper and get the job done and get the win. So that's what's on deck for the Ducks on Sunday. Well, hopefully we shall be here on Sunday for a post-game show. Todd should be back in the state of California. We'll have it rocking and rolling here on the Halos in the Infield post-game show. But remember, fans, this channel, the Heedy YouTube page, X, Instagram, all those pages, this is the only Anaheim Ducks post-game show after a game, win or lose, where we come on and we chat and we talk about the game and what is up next for our Anaheim Ducks. So like, comment, subscribe to the Halos in the Infield YouTube page, and everywhere else. You can also follow us on Instagram at Catella_CHRON. I am Catella Chronicles. We have our own page, but we partner with Halos in the Infield, and that's what we do. We have our buddy Zach of Ducks Game Day Breakdown. We have our buddy Mike of the Mighty Ducks Club, who's hosting an event at our friend Noble Ale Works place on Tuesday, December the 16th, when the Ducks host the Columbus Blue Jackets. Unfortunately, myself and Todd can't make it out that day, but go and support our good buddy Mike and the Mighty Ducks Club at Noble Ale Works on Tuesday, December the 16th. And also, friendly reminder, we're getting more details secured for this date. Keep Friday, January 16th penciled in on your calendars. Put RSVP, circle it so no plans get in the way. It's Ducks at Kings and Halos in the Infield. We're planning a watch party for you, the fans, to come out. We're going to have some special guests. Zach of Ducks Game Day Breakdown, Mike of the Mighty Ducks Club. He's got a lot of buddies of his that do a lot of awesome, super, super cool T-shirts and products and just activation. We want the Ducks fans to come out on Friday, January 16th, Ducks Kings Freeway Face-Off, and we want to have a watch party at Noble Ale Works. So we got that penciled in on the calendar. We're ironing out details. When we have everything finalized, we will tell you, the fans, we want you there. Come on out, hang out with us, and watch some amazing Ducks hockey when the time comes. But keep supporting the Ducks. We love you, the fans. Let's go, Ducks. Ducks fly together, and they get a big 4-3 win tonight at home against the Washington Capitals. We get to lay our head on the pillow tonight and still have our Ducks in first place in the Pacific Division. Until Sunday, when the Ducks host the Chicago Blackhawks to wrap up the 3-game series, I'm Dominic Lorenz of Catella Chronicles. Cheers to the rest of your Friday night as the Ducks win it tonight, 4-3 in a shootout against the Washington Capitals. Goals all over the place. Yes, indeed. From Gauthier, Johnston, Seneca, Terry, and Mason McTavish. And it leads to a big Anaheim Ducks win. 35 points now on the season, 28 games in, with 17 wins in our back pocket. Fans, we love you. Let's go Ducks. Ducks fly together. We will see you Sunday. Be happy, be healthy. Let's go Ducks.